Hello everybody and welcome to Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. I'm Jack and today I'm here with Joe. We're going to be discussing the survey results for the survey we did 3 or 4 weeks ago now. We put out a video a little while ago just with a link to a survey that a lot of you guys responded to, which was great. Really gave us an insight on where you guys want this channel to go. So we're back with the results today. So Joe, if you want to kick us off.
Yeah, sure. So these were the sort of the core of the survey questions, what we were trying to get at with these questions. So we wanted to see if you preferred IRL or PTCGO videos. It's pretty easy for us to do both of those, so it's pretty much down to you guys what you wanted to see. Then we also asked a few questions about the length of the video and the content within it, what you wanted to hear and how long you wanted the videos to be. Also, if there was any on-screen info we could add to the videos. Then there was a quick ranking of your favorite content and maybe extra content if you guys wanted to see that or not. And then we just gave you an option to have any extra feedback. So these are the things we were looking for. And based on your feedback, I think we got 158 responses, which is phenomenal for us. So really, really good stuff. We were able to, take a look at what you guys wanted, and we're going to act accordingly pretty much. So off you go, Jack.
Yep. Starting off, like Joe said, the first thing was IRL or PTCGO. It was pretty close, this one. PTCGO, however, is slightly preferred, but the both options were close enough that we feel neither video will get, or both videos will get a lot of views still. So in response to this, we're going to do as many videos as we can on PTCGO, simply because they are preferred. But when new sets are released, or maybe when a card is banned or we can't use it on PTCGO or whatever, in certain situations, we will still do IRL videos. Obviously, when new sets are released, and we have the scans 2 or 3 weeks before they're legal on, or before they've been released on PTCGO, like we do with some of our videos already, we're still going to do IRL in those circumstances, just because we want to be getting the content out to you as quickly as possible. And waiting until the release day would mean we're missing potentially 2 to 3 weeks of being able to get new content for you guys. So it's pretty much, from this feedback, it was pretty much carry on with what you're doing. We like PTCGO and we like IRL. So we're just going to stay pretty true to what we've been doing so far with these types of videos.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, looking at the analysis of the video length and the content, pretty much was a large proportion of you were wanting to see really in-depth analysis, going card by card. We have been trying to do that as much as possible, and you guys like it, so we'll stick to that. And you also like seeing multiple battles, so it looks like we're going to try and push the time for each video to be around the 45-minute plus mark, depending on the length of battles. So hopefully that's something you can all enjoy. And you also like seeing reference to matchups and texts throughout the video. And normally we look at the 60 card lists as like a starting point, and then we're gonna look at tech options afterwards in detail, as well as we don't really script these videos, so sometimes an idea will just pop up and we'll just suggest certain texts here and there. So it's something good to listen to, as well as us having a few ideas jotted down for specific texts that we have to mention. And like we're saying, we want to have 3+ battles, as long as it's time permitting. Maybe we have 1 or 2 really long battles. We feel it's already pushing an hour, we might cut it slightly short. As long as we get 1 really good video or 1 really good battle, I think people can appreciate that. But if we're just having people scoop and whatnot, it's not really good content. We're not really, we want to show as many battles as possible, just to show the deck setting up consistently and stuff like that. That's what we're looking to do, and also gives us potential to move on and show the deck off. And then in addition to the 3 battles in the same video as the analysis, there's also potential for extra videos, just sort of bonuses. Maybe if it's a deck that we made IRL, we didn't have the chance to show battles, we could then hop onto PTCGO for just a battle video for a little while. I think Jack's going to be the one predominantly looking to do this. Just throw on a few battles for his own testing and whatever else, and it's more content for you guys, so that should be pretty good.
Yeah, being able to look at decks that we've done IRL 2 or 3 weeks prior to release means that you're still getting to see how these decks set up later on down the line. So yeah, I'm going to be trying to push out these battle videos more often, but we have got some more information on that a little bit later on. So next up, We've got the sort of extra information that you guys were interested in, and a lot of you guys were really interested in seeing a lot of different things. We went through all of the information and all of the answers that you guys said, and we've decided to add 4 things in. As you can see, currently we've got the sort of green background, the face cam, the PTCGO, and underneath the face cam there will now be an information box, just with a few, not a huge chunk of words, just 2 or 3 words, so you guys know a bit more about the deck, in case to always sort of have in the back of your mind maybe when we're playing, or if you just want to quickly look at the list, at least you know a little bit more about the deck, just from looking at the list at the same time. So we've got budget. This is going to be sort of a low, medium, high. We can't really do a specific price, simply because prices fluctuate all the time with how good cards are, how weak cards are, whether there's reprints released, stuff like that. And obviously throughout the series or throughout the year and the season, these decks are going to fluctuate in price depending on how expensive or cheap these cards are. So based on that, we're not going to have, well, this deck is around $70. We're just going to say whether it's a relatively cheap deck, a medium costing deck, or a relatively high costing deck. Maybe it's got a lot of EXs, a lot of megas, things like that. So we're going to have sort of a budget rather than a specific price line. Going to have a play style related to the deck. So maybe it's a deck that aims to take 6 prizes in 3 turns. Maybe it's a deck that aims to get rid of all your opponent's energy. We are going to have that sort of information on the screen as well, so you kind of know what sort of play style you're going to be looking at when you have this deck in your hands and going into a tournament. And then related to that, we've got the strengths and the weaknesses of the deck, rather than again doing specific matchups that could change and fluctuate throughout the season. Maybe you're watching the video a month later or something like that. Instead, we're just going to have sort of related to the play styles. Maybe a deck is good against aggressive decks, but not very good against another type of deck. Rather than saying specific decks like Dark Tina is a bad matchup for it or a good matchup for it, we're going to have play styles that it's good or bad against. So you can sort of think about the play style you're expecting to see in a tournament. Maybe you know the kind of players that are going, or you know what's being hyped at the moment. So it should help sort of give you a bit of extra info as to whether a deck is a good pick for a tournament in the future or not.
Yeah, I really like this. This is probably the biggest change that we're going to be incorporating, at least in a visual sense. So there are going to be people who just want to see the list. People click on our videos, pause it straight away, and look at our 60 cards. So now they also get this extra burst of info, even when they've just paused for like 2 seconds, and then they're going to flick off. Like, we still appreciate those viewers, so we're going to try and give them a bit of extra info. At the same time, newer players and stuff like that, this could be really nice extra info to have, you know, instantly. You just get that at a glance. When we're talking about more in-depth discussion for these other types of players, the new players can have these things in the back of their mind, like, yes, this is a low budget deck, I could start thinking about acquiring these cards, stuff like that. So I really enjoy this, and I think it's going to help out our videos a lot personally. Then we looked at the ranking of what your favorite content was for the channel. Just feedback from the questionnaire, it's only natural that the standard and expanded deck reviews were pretty much on top because these are the most frequent ones. But also there's more love for the set reviews format chats that we have and the tournament reports whenever we can. So based on that, you know, we're going to show off the schedule later on of the standard and expanded videos that we're going to be doing. We're going to keep that as regular as possible and give you guys a day in which you can expect these videos to come up on, which we haven't been too hot on. We did get into the swing of it a while back, but that sort of faded away over the summer while we both went on holiday and stuff like that. So we're going to be getting back into a steady flow now, which is cool. And then you can expect quarterly format discussions. I think this helps out the fact that the whole point system has changed now for Pokemon, or the point structure at least. So this actually can be a really nice basis for us to schedule in format discussions, because you can plan your tournaments based on the quarterly. So then we can pretty much have a discussion based on what sets are currently in format, and if any new sets come into that quarter, we can say how maybe down the line that could change things up as well. So that's really going to help direct our format discussions, which we do enjoy doing. Set reviews, they're always going to be prior to the English release. I know for Steam Siege we did the Japanese scans, but that was just because of Worlds, basically. We wanted to get the info out there as quickly as possible. It may, you know, once again become relevant down the line that we have to do a Japanese one, but we remain we try and remain current on the channel. We try and keep our eyes focused on, the upcoming weeks rather than the upcoming months. So we think that doing a set review prior to the English release is the best way to do it, because then we have, exact text of what to read on cards. There's no more speculation. It's guaranteed to be correct information. And of course, it's going to affect you more immediately than if it was a Japanese set. Then, 4 months down the line, the whole format's different, and the things we discussed have, completely changed or become irrelevant. So we think that's the best way to take set reviews. And then finally, tournament reports. If and when we are ever successful this season, they'll be coming out again. And also top 8 deck lists for larger events. I think recently I did one for Worlds. I also did one for the ECC. These sorts of videos do go down well. It's also a great indication for new and old players to see what sorts of lists have been doing very well. So it's always good to, have an update on these sorts of things when we have the information available to us. So these are all the things you can expect on the channel, pretty much more of the same, but in a more structured format, which I think is pretty important.
Yeah, all positive sort of structure going back or going into the next season. And then the final slide or the final question we had was about additional feedback. So yeah, I think we're going to try and take these one at a time. So we had so many great responses regarding the additional feedback, and I think this was one of the best answered questions, just because we got so much information from you guys about what you guys want to see, that we hadn't thought of in the prior 9 questions. So I think if we try and take these one at a time, Joe.
Sure.
First off is budget decks. We are going to try and get more frequent with the budget decks, because we know these are really, really important to you guys that are just getting into the game, that don't want to invest a huge amount of money into the game. So we are going to try and be a bit more frequent with the budget deck lists, and so you guys can always have an up-to-date idea of where the best place to start the Pokemon TCG will be at the current point in the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's going to be on our info bar as well to see the range of price. So we're going to try and do separate videos of just budget decks, but also you can keep track more regularly of whatever deck we're profiling. So that should help us out.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Q&As. Someone was suggesting that we sort of give you the opportunity to just ask a bunch of questions, then we have a whole answer video. Me and Jack aren't really opposed to this. Of course, if there are more questions relevant to the video at hand, or maybe the battle or something like that, the comment section is always going to be the best place for these sorts of questions, because we can, me and Jack are very good at getting responses out there and replying. We try to reply to pretty much everyone when possible, and we really do appreciate the comments and such. So if it's something pertinent to that video specifically that you're watching, always stick it in the comments. I think that's going to be the best way to get a direct response quickly. For Q&As, I think it would have to be a more general question and answer about maybe us, what we like, what we don't like in terms of Pokemon, what our favorite decks have been. We're not opposed to this video. It may be something that when we both have, a spare weekend or something, we can try and do one of these things. But because it's something where the game is always adapting and changing, if you ask on one week what we think of X deck, and then we actually record the video a week later, something else could have changed completely. And then, a week after that, when people actually watch it, it could again have changed. So it's one of these things where those sorts of questions are probably best kept in the comments section for now. But like we say, it's not out of the question that we're going to make one of these videos.
Yeah, I think the Q&A videos, like Joe said, the specific deck questions are really useful on the actual deck videos themselves. But maybe just wanting to know who the 2 people behind Omnipoke are, we realised today we haven't actually done a formal sort of video about who me and Joe are. So if that's the kind of thing you guys want to see, I think me and Joe are more than happy to do something like that. It's something that I'm completely down for. So yeah, that was something that was mentioned a couple of times. More rogues is an interesting one. We are, I think, because we've just had what is debatably one of the most competitive blocks throughout the season. We had Worlds, and then the start of the new format where everyone wants to get a really good start. We haven't had a lot of rogue concepts on the channel for 3 or 4 months. That's not because we don't want to do rogues, but it's because we have to prioritise the top tier decks that are going to take you deep into the tournament. And because of that, sometimes these rogue concepts do have to take the back seat for a while. But rogues are definitely coming back. Steam Siege has, and the whole rotation shift in general has presented a lot more opportunity for some of these rogue decks. So they're not gone at all. We are going to obviously still record rogue decks, but they are going to be later on down the cycle, simply because we want to be churning out the decks that are going to take you deep into the tournament consistently. Obviously rogues can also do the same, but we want to make sure we're getting these really important archetypes out to you first, and then sort of week 3, 4, 5, where we've got a lot of these new strong archetypes and updated old good archetypes out. That's when we're going to start throwing these other rogue decks like Delphox and stuff at you. So yeah, we're going to be bringing more rogues to you sort of later throughout the season and each quarter, really.
It's not going to be Delphox though. No, but seriously, we're both two players who have played rogues in high-level tournaments before. We really do appreciate them. Like, I played a rogue for Worlds, I played a rogue at regionals and won and stuff like that. Like, most of my points last season came from rogues. So I'm someone who loves rogues myself, and I love making videos about rogues. So it's gonna happen. It's just right now, especially because it's a new format. People are still, finding their feet in this format. The time for rogues is normally when people have found the format and you can, target 2 or 3 decks, and then the rogue can, have good matchups and then just run hot. That's the time and place for rogues. So maybe we need to let the dust settle a bit. But there's still so much, when new sets come out, we always have a rush for the big decks, the new archetypes that come out and stuff like that. But after 2 or 3 weeks of that, then there are, a few weeks where we have to look to lower tiers and more rogue concepts. So we're going to definitely keep an eye on these and try and get as many out as possible. Next up, there's the question about joint deck analysis. Me and Jack had a little chat about this. I think in theory it's kind of cool having a joint deck analysis, as often as possible. But really in practicality, especially if we're doing battle videos, because me and Jack are so different as players, and what decks we like, how we like to even play the game, we'll try and take different lines of play and discuss why we've done that amongst ourselves. But it might make doing a battle video quite difficult because we'd just be arguing with each other on the screen. So it might be one of these things where on special occasions, if we look at, before big events, we look at, the top 3 decks, we present these lists to you, and then we do just an analysis on its own about why these cards are in the decks and whatever else. Then we can have a big old joint discussion. I think that's a good way to do it. Also, we're going to talk about testing sessions later on, and I think that does tie in a way of having joint deck analysis, because it's going to be both of us on screen at once chatting to each other, so it sort of fills that void that I think people are looking for. So maybe that's the direction that we're going for instead of joint deck analysis. But like we're saying, we're not opposed to this idea too much, and it might just be on occasions that really warrant it, we'll go for that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think this is a really good idea, but not something that we're going to make sort of a frequent thing. It's just going to be perhaps before the international championships or worlds or other big events. We're just going to discuss some key concepts. We're obviously going to have these quarterly format discussions where we discuss 10 to 20 decks overall about what's good about them, what's bad about them. But then going into a tournament, maybe we're going to look at the top 3 archetypes, why they're the top 3 archetypes, and a really good base list for you guys to look at. So yeah, it's definitely something that we are going to introduce, but not super frequently, just for specific events. Moving into the next one, a sister channel is something that me and Joe have talked about so much over the past 2 years. Even when we were first starting the channel, we wanted to expand super quickly, have the Omnipoke brand, or the Omni brand. But for now, the feedback we got about the channel is you guys want more of the same. You want more content. You want more frequent content. You want us to keep doing what we're doing. And we feel, at the moment at least, with where we both are, like in our personal lives and what's going on with work and education and stuff like that, adding a sister channel to the mix would take away from Omnipoke rather than add content. It would add content to maybe another game or a different type of Pokemon, but it would take away from Omnipoke on the whole, and we both primarily want to keep Omnipoke alive. So because of that, right now we don't think it's right. It's something that we've had in the back of our minds for near to 2 years, and we're discussing it every other week about how maybe we could integrate it. But for now, It's just going to stay in the back of our minds until we think it's the right time for a sister channel to be brought to to the side of Omnipoke to be able to collaborate with the main channel already.
Yeah, this is always going to be, this is the flagship. This is what we love more than anything else. So we're never going to sacrifice content on this channel for anything else right now because it just doesn't make sense. So it's a question of time. If we both get more time where we, aren't sacrificing any quality or quantity of this channel, then sure, we can discuss it. But for now, it's kind of off the table. But like Jack said, it's always in the back of our minds. Long battle videos, I think we've sort of covered this already, that we're going to be trying to do this. But Jack is going to be trying to, like we say, do independent battle videos just apart from the analysis in a completely separate video whenever possible. We're going to talk about testing sessions again. It's one that me and him are both quite excited about, so that'll be happening as well. And there's also the opportunity to do the Poker Beach tournament. It's something that me and Jack have both done, and it's a really nice, simple series. We literally stick the recorder on and show off the battle that we're having live. And these are all good things for newer players and experienced players to see our lines of play, our sequencing, all these things. Just watching the cogs turn for us as players, what we're looking for in their discard pile, how we're trying to read their hands, all these sorts of things. You can only really gain from watching and listening to battle videos, and you can't really get that from deck analysis. So we are keen to show these as often as possible, and yeah, it's going to be a trend that continues, I think.
Yeah, without a doubt. Moving on to the next one, more collaborations. It's something that we've wanted to do. Again, it's another thing that we've always wanted to do. We started making some movements towards this last year, but we didn't sort of carry it through. This year, we're going to really make a concerted effort to collaborate with as many people as we can. Like I say, I will be discussing testing sessions in a second, but there's a lot we could do with collaborations, I think. So there will be more collaborations on the channel, and it's another thing where if you guys have any specific people you would like us to collaborate with, let us know and we can see what we can do. We feel we're quite well known in the community now. We should hopefully be able to collaborate with a lot of your other favourite Pokemon YouTubers, hopefully. And because of that, we hopefully will be able to bring you guys some more collaboration content down the line over the next year or so.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got some good bargaining power behind us now, and I think everyone's fairly willing to join in. It's mutually beneficial when you do collaborations with other PokeTubers and other people who run websites and whatever else. So there's no real reason that people wouldn't want to, other than just arranging a schedule that we can all fit to. Basically, won't be super regular, but whenever we can sort it, we're going to be much more proactive in trying to approach people for trying to collaborate wherever possible. And there's plenty of people that we have in mind. We're not going to start shouting out names right now because it's not fair on them. But it's in our minds, and we're going to start approaching people very soon, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Moving on to battles versus top tier decks. This is really a suggestion based on sometimes on PTCGO we run into a Delphox deck and we get run over. And it doesn't really show anything. You've not really learned much, and we can really respect this. And I think it's more the case that we're just trying to do more battle videos. So sure, that can happen. It's all a laugh. Some people even like seeing me cringe and be sad. That's fine. But it just means that we can queue up another game and start going again. And that's what we really want to show. So we can, just by trial and error at the very least, get good battles out there. And again, the Poker Beach tournament, these are normally high level players. They're experienced in tournaments, so more recognized archetypes there. So we're trying to find, obviously PTCGO, just the manner in which we do our videos, we can never promise to find good battles. And sometimes you can be on the ladder for 4 hours before you find one real good game. And in terms of time efficiency, it's just not practical for us. We're going to throw up a video. And we're not going to wait 6 hours just to find a good battle. So we understand the urge for top tier decks against each other, but in practicality, it's not something we can always promise. So we're just hoping that, with 2 or 3 battles, there's a good chance that one of these are going to be a handy tip for you, or it's close or whatever. So by trial and error, we're going to try and get there. And the Poker Beach thing should help out as well. So I think we're looking all the time to go towards that. Wherever we can, we're doing our best to do so.
Yeah, I think the key thing is the deck analysis videos that we have at the moment focus on the deck we're playing. They don't focus on the deck that we're playing against. They focus on how our deck sets up. So the video that you're watching is about the playmat in front of you rather than the playmat opposite you. The battles against top tier decks about certain sort of powerhouses of the format, seeing how they interact with each other. That's something for the longer battle videos, the testing sessions. The deck analysis videos are to show you how a deck functions, not necessarily how it gets around some of these rogue concepts or some of these popular concepts. It's to show you how the deck functions. So rather than, like Joe says, queuing up for 2 to 3 hours just to find a good or a top tier deck to play against, that's not what we want to do, because maybe our deck is set up in all the other games that we've shown, but they haven't been against a top tier deck, so we've decided to scrap those. That's not the idea we've got. We want to show how our deck functions in the deck analysis videos, and then moving on to what I'm going to mention in a second, the testing sessions. That's where we're going to sort of go against these key sort of decks in the format that you are going to be seeing in large numbers at tournaments. So I think that's the best way of sort of analysing why we haven't been playing, or why we haven't been focusing on making sure we're playing against top tier decks in every single one of our videos, just because it's not practical time wise.
Yeah.
Going into the testing sessions, I think this is one of my favourite things that you guys said. I think it's such a good idea, and it's just literally me and Joe throwing on the pressing the record button and watching me and Joe play casually for an hour or two once a week, or however often we play. Obviously, this season, Pokemon have ramped up the difficulty. They want to make this year more competitive, so it's going to mean everyone has to be on the top of their game, and because of that, everyone is going to need to test much more, us included, meaning that we are going to be testing naturally a lot more. And you guys said, can we just see you and Joe testing, not necessarily you explaining every single one of your plays, not necessarily even acknowledging particularly that the video's on, just casually watching a testing session for an hour to two just to see you guys testing with some of these decks. And that's where you're going to see these top tier archetypes go against one another. All of the games we play when testing are all super chilled out, super fun. Even if it's really swingy, or one person's doing really well or whatever, they're all super chilled out. So it's something we really want to integrate, and it's something that we're going to try and get to pretty soon. Like I say, I have recorded one of these sort of hour-long battle videos just showing off some battles with the deck that is going to be going up towards the end of this week into early next week. But I think we're slowly, even though I've already recorded this, we're slowly going to be phasing that out, because I think these testing sessions are actually going to be really, really useful for both us and you guys. You guys are going to get to see what these decks are like against each other. It's going to make sure that me and Joe are always constantly playing and keeping our mind on the game. And yeah, it's just another source of battles that you can just throw in the background maybe, and then play some PTCGO or whatever, so you've always got an hour or two's worth of content a week, maybe just to watch us guys play some specific decks or whatever. But yeah, I think testing sessions is something that in the next 2 or 3 weeks is going to be starting to feature on the channel, and I think is a really, really exciting idea from you guys.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like what people are asking for already. It's relatively good players playing relatively good decks. So we're cutting out the middleman, missing all the sort of dead air when we are up against bad decks. So it's just going to be really good. It's going to be both of us just chatting and stuff. It doesn't have to be super, serious or competitive or whatever. We'll just, like Jack's saying, almost as if you're invisible, you're just sort of peeking into how we like to test, basically. So that could be pretty cool, could be interesting for you guys as well. And who knows, maybe we make it more competitive. We could ramp it up. We could have like Joby Jack season 1 or whatever.
Yeah,
we could do that. We could have a little scoring system just down at the bottom.
It's definitely something that I think presents a lot of fun to the channel, and something we haven't really thought about.
There's a lot of directions we can go for.
Yeah.
It's a building block, definitely, and I feel like this could even become a flagship series if we carry on with it, because a lot of people like watching testing, and it's going to be games at the end of the day. That's why we're playing Pokemon right now, is to get involved in the game, and it is a super fun game. So just seeing this content is really cool. Moving on to just a quick quality of life change that we're going to incorporate. Really simple. I don't know why we haven't done it before, to be honest, but we're just going to make timestamps that you can skip straight to the battle videos in our deck analysis ones, because although there was an overwhelming amount of people saying they like the long videos, they like seeing as many battles as possible, I know myself as, feeling like an experienced player. When I watch other videos, I can quite happily pause, take a look at the 60 card list without having to have a 15-minute run through. Maybe certain cards I'd want to hear an explanation for why it's in there or why something else isn't. But sometimes you can make the judgments on your own and be like, right, okay, let's see how this runs in action, go straight to the battle videos. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to have a little skip to button and a timestamp so that you can cut out the middleman, go straight to those battles if need be, especially if you're pressed for time or whatever, or just however you like to watch your videos. We're going to give you that quality of life change. So very simple, very easy to do, and hopefully you'll appreciate that.
Yeah, super nice one that you guys suggested. Finally, as something that I have already started doing, but I do plan on keeping up with, is more interaction on Facebook and Twitter. Both me and Joe can access the Facebook and Twitter, but I primarily spend my time on the Facebook and Twitter, just responding to your guys' messages, making sure you guys know when we've uploaded a new video, or when we've got a specific announcement, or any information that you guys need to see. All of the links will be down in the description. Like I say, I can't always make videos as frequently as Joe, unfortunately, but you can always contact me on Facebook and Twitter. I try to respond as quickly as possible. And yeah, it's a really good resource for you guys to know exactly what me and Joe are up to when we've got new videos coming out. I think every time we upload a video, Twitter will tweet out a link to the video, so if you guys want to see when we've always got videos coming out, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. Like I say, I'll leave all the links down in the description. We are going to be a lot more, we're going to be using these resources a lot more this year, and I think it's something that has definitely been brought up in the past, and like I say, I've been trying to get involved with a lot more recently.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. So that just leaves the schedule that we're going on to. Very basic schedule. We've not filled it out with huge amounts of detail. This gives us flexibility. But basically, you're going to expect a deck analysis on Monday and Fridays. Very simple stuff. We're going to make these, at the moment, they're going to be standard still, because that's where everyone's focus is, especially for the international challenge coming up very soon, as well as like big regionals are coming up in the UK at the very least, and they're coming thick and fast. So a lot of people's eyes are focused on standard right now, but as and when expanded becomes more relevant again, there's still plenty of expanded decks, weirdly enough. They're on the channel, and we did them a while ago, but they're still fairly relevant. There's only, a few cards from new sets that you have to look at if you want to add them in or not. So at the moment, I've looked back at some just the other day, just out of personal curiosity, and some of them are still fairly viable. You'd only have to change a few decks, a few cards changed based on what we gain from new sets and whatever. So there's not a huge priority on expanded, but we will be incorporating these again. Things like Ho-Ho Ninja Boy, I really want to test out personally. Just so many fun decks that open up thanks to Ninja Boy and other cards like that. So expanded's got to be coming back fairly soon as well, and that'll take up one of the slots of the week. But I think each week at least you can expect one standard deck, because that's what people are most focused on. And then midweek we're going to have either something like a battle video from just one of us. Whenever we're able, we're going to have these testing sessions, which I think is a really cool idea. We're both super on board with this, and it's pretty easy for us to do as well. So it should be really good fun. So you can expect a guaranteed 3 videos a week, which is great. And then extracurricular videos, the things like set reviews, tournament reports, as and when they're coming, as and when we do well, if ever. These quarterly format discussions, stuff like that. These are going to be thrown, in between other days and weekends and stuff, whenever we can, really. So we're really hoping to knuckle down with these 3 solid days where you can expect that video to come up as soon as you get home from work or school or whatever it is. You can expect to see Omnipoke on there with a video. So that should be good fun for everyone, and it keeps you in the know, basically, which is always good for subscribers and viewers alike.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of things to note based on that. We do realise that there are like expanded tournaments in the US. I think Europe are getting their expanded tournaments sort of after Christmas. I feel like that's how we're going to get it. But I know there are expanded regionals in the US over the next few weeks. But the thing to note is, like Joe said, the deck list that we've already got up, whilst there may only be one or two changes, you can still comment on those videos. We still see all of the comments on all of the old videos, so even commenting now on a video we made 6 months ago, we can still see that. We will respond to that, and if it's something that we can talk about just in a comment, maybe a 1 or 2 card change, we will still do that, super easy. So don't feel like just because we made the video 6 months ago, we're not going to be able to respond to a comment there. We still see all of those comments, so feel free to contact us on those as well. The testing sessions, like I say, hopefully going to be starting in the next couple of weeks. I can't promise they'll be in the next 1 to 2 weeks, just because I move to Nottingham in about 24 hours actually. So and I start uni, so there's going to be a week or two of freshers where I'm probably not going to be up to recording too much, but these testing sessions are going to become more and more frequent, especially as we get closer to these big tournaments. Like Joe said, super easy for us to record, super chilled out for us to record, and yeah, nothing too formal, but like we say, hopefully high quality content for you guys. And the final thing is, just because of when we upload, usually all of these times may be sort of shifted a little bit to the right. Deck analysis maybe like early Tuesday, just because we upload overnight. That's the only other thing I wanted to mention. So if you don't see a deck analysis on Monday by 1:45, it's on its way, but we usually upload overnight just because it's a lot quicker for us to upload. And yeah, other than that, I think all of the extracurricular activities that we've got below pretty much cover up anything else that we're going to be fitting in on the days that we don't have set, or the days that we don't have set videos coming out, or the weekends or stuff like that. But yeah, I think we've pretty much covered everything there. I don't know whether there's anything else you want to say, Joe?
No, I'm good.
Great. So yeah, pretty much thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much for all of your feedback. Make sure you check out, if you've made it all the way through to the video, make sure you check out our 3,000 subscriber giveaway and the huge news based on what Pokemon are doing this year, how you can earn your World's Invite. That's a really important video. Another link I will try and leave in the description if I remember to do so. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. We hope you're looking forward to all of the changes coming up, all of the new ideas that we've got, the extra info, the testing sessions, the quarterly format discussions, things like that. Hopefully you're all looking forward to all of those, and yeah, look forward to more, hopefully top quality content from us over here at Omnipoke over the next year. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. I've been Jack with Joe from Omnipoke, and we look forward to seeing you in another video.